well done, fledgling, for making it this far into my haven, thinking that somehow you were beneath my notice. Crawling through my catacombs, searching through my files, trying to creep up on me with a stake, no doubt, trying to take out the tyrant prince. Ascend to my lofty pedestal and say, "Behold, I am your new prince. Worship me, respect me, fear me, love me, whatever." Do you honestly think that if you did that, if you were somehow successful in slaying me, diablerizing me, whatever you like, that Primogen would allow you to be the new prince, that the kindred will allow you to be the new prince? Certainly it'd have some support. Some would say, look at this hero, look at this modern day, Spartacus. And then you'd be taken down, taken out. You'd be a firebrand, a Promethean, a loose cannon, a maverick, uncontrollable. If you could do it to me, why not to one of the other elders in the city? Really, that kind of action is foolish, naive, short-sighted. I became prince, not through my own volition. I was part of a task force, I suppose you could call it, responsible for discovering evidence on the former Prince Wallace of his ties with the Settites. It was a task I relished. I was quite the investigator back then. And as I was a good little boy and I followed the traditions, the Camarilla thought, this kindred is popular. He brought down a prince that betrayed his city. Let's put him in his throne. I was resistant at first, while inwardly I quite looked forward to the idea of seizing a city. The Primogen put me there, made me prince, and, well, the rest was history, and the last 90 years have been profitable to say the least. But still, getting the princedom is a lot easier than maintaining it. I have known many princes that have held the post for 2 decades or less, being wiped out by a rival, taken down by anarchs, being ousted by Primogen and exiled to another city, falling to Sabbat raids, corrupted by Settites. All of that and more can happen to you when you are the prince. Welcome aboard. Allow me to explain to you how you stay prince in a Camarilla city, fledgling. First thing you do is make an enemy. I know it seems contrary, doesn't it? Make an enemy. I chose the Toreador. Belittle one of the clans. Make them less than the others. Remove their property, remove their embracing rights. Show the rest of the kindred in your city that this clan can be picked on with impunity. I've got nothing against the Toreador. The entire city thinks I hate them, and that's good. They should think that. They should think that they've got free rein to march all over those rose-sucking cock-ends. I don't have any personal grudge against the Toreador. I wouldn't know a fucking Monet from a Mozart. But if they're happy to flounce around in Elysium, then they can do that. There's no skin off my own dead nose. But the point is, the clans of the Camarilla are like vultures. If one of them is weak, they will pounce, they will swoop down, and they will pick at the carcass. They will act like school bullies. A big united front, all so tough, all standing up for being strong and independent and free-willed. Then as soon as one of them shows a sign of weakness, the rest will turn on him and put the boot in. That's what I did with the Toreador. For a good 20-30 years now, the Toreador have suffered under my rule. There's less of the case now. And if I had to do it over, I might pick the Malkavians for their derangements, the Bruja for always being, well, Bruja. Any of the outsider clans, not the Ventru, they're too firmly seen as a linchpin of the Camarilla, and I made my mistake of picking on a Tremere. Too unified, but the Toreador, they are a good target. Easy target. Again, no personal grudge against the clan of the Rose, but if they're made to look weak, the rest of the kindred will agree with your summation, and they will side with you against them. If the Toreador ever rose up, which allies would they have, being so weak? They would not have any. Maybe the anarchs. But the main body of the Camarilla would fall on them. So that's rule number 1. Make an enemy. An enemy who's open, who you can just pick on with impunity. The Giovanni are also a good option for that. Something I'm considering. Second rule. Simply uphold the traditions. Now, I don't give two shits about the Camarilla. I don't give two shits about the Sabbat. Not really. They're traditions. I'm sure the Sabbat have something similar in their cities. But if I uphold the traditions, if the Camarilla see me as a golden boy who says, "Oh, I hate masquerade breaches. I hate people breaching the tradition of destruction. I hate those embracing without permission, etc., etc." You know what the Camarilla do? They back me. They see that I've run a city successfully for 9 decades, upholding their heavenly virtues, and they will swoop in behind me if a threat comes against me. How do you think I've held this city for 9 decades? Not with my own force of will. I've had the Camarilla on my side. They think I'm some loyalist to their great ivory tower. Maybe I am, unknowingly. The point is, the Camarilla serve me. They serve my purpose. Uphold the traditions of the Camarilla and you will have the Camarilla with you. So it doesn't matter what the Anarchs do, or the Tremere, or the Giovanni. If you are in trouble, you can get on the phone to Hardstadt or whoever you like and say, "I've held this city for you for 9 decades. Now where are you? I need your defence, otherwise this city will fall to the Anarchs, the Sabbat. Pick your poison." It certainly means you're in a relationship like you might be with the Mafia. You owe them, they owe you. You have to pay it back eventually. But through constant upholding of the traditions, loudly doing it, you can hold your position as prince for a very long time indeed. The third rule is to never embrace. I think embracing is vulgar, I think it is despicable, I think it is disgusting. Never seen the point in it. I've never met an immortal yet who has found their life enriched by siring a child. I've never met a mortal yet who's found their life enriched by being turned into a kindred. It's a selfish act to sire. I feel that way. I never wish to be one of these Cainites, and yet I make the best of it. You have to make the best of your situation. A sired child is a burden and eventually a threat. A child gets to know you intimately, maybe telepathically, maybe politically. In some way or other, the child will get to know you in a way that other kindred won't. Who say that child won't eventually become a hostage that you have to save and therefore give up some of your power for? Who say that that child won't eventually turn on you and use your information against you? There's no point to furthering your lineage, unless perhaps you're a Ventru who's so obsessed with genealogy. It's so like the mortals, the way they do that. That's not to say I've not tried to embrace when in a fit of pique. I occasionally have. Never come off, and I'm not regretting that. Not to say I won't eventually embrace, but my rule is to never do it. Not while you're a prince. It opens up far too many threats. Far too many weaknesses. My next rule is to not trust kindred. Not ever. Do not trust kindred. They are all so selfishly driven. I am. Again, I don't care about the furthering the Camarilla's goals, but I care about my own. And will I share that with every kindred? No. But will I side with them because they say in the Camarilla? Yes. Until their time becomes nigh. What does that mean? Well, if there's no one you can trust, you can always turn to mortals. That's what I do. I turn to mortals. They've got a certain vivaciousness that you forget. I find that spending time with mortals for a while reminds you of what it was to be human, and that's good. You need that. You need to cling on to that. And when they tell you about what a wonderful summer's day it was, you can wax nostalgic about that time your parents took you to the beach and you built sand castles and ate ice cream, until you come snapping back to the fact that you can never see the sun again, eat a meal, anything like that. But mortals keep you grounded, and you can trust them more because they've got no one to turn to when they find out too much. What do you do when a mortal finds out too much? Do you embrace them? Possibly, unlikely though. Do you kill them? That's a bit cruel, they never asked for this. I've dabbled with sending mortals mad, trying to make them forget. I find that is also cruel, but sometimes necessary. I prefer sending them to another city, to a fine job that they've always wanted. I find that that is a fair reward for loyalty, and mortals can give you true loyalty without a blood bond. Kindred need a blood bond. I find that disgusting as well. One should not use it unless under duress. My next rule is to keep a weapon hidden. Everyone knows about the lupine I have here. That's my vanguard. Kindred have seen me controlling other kindred with my mind. Kindred have seen me eking out of the shadows. Kindred have seen me reading souls and communicating telepathically. They don't know all the weapons I have in my arsenal, though. That's how I beat Samuel Devlin, that's how I beat Hon Tanley, that's how I've beaten so many opponents, because no one truly knows the capabilities at my disposal. The good prince does not play with an open hand. I do not play with an open hand. My next rule is, if you're a Malkavian like I am, to play to your derangements. If you are insane, use that insanity. Certainly, some have called me paranoid, probably true. One called me a megalomaniac, never said that again. If you're paranoid, make the rest of your city paranoid too. Make some clans form alliances, forcibly. Make some clans forbidden from forming alliances. Spread the rumour that the Bruja are trying to undercut the Toreador via the Harpies. It may not be true. It probably is, but it may not be. Still, it will make them paranoid. Nestle yourself in the bosom of your own mental illness, and it becomes a lot more manageable. My city is one of paranoia. No one really trusts one another. And that makes me feel quite comfortable and quite safe. Perhaps I am a megalomaniac. As I say, I don't really care for the Camarilla, but this city is made in my image. For 90 years I brought infrastructure, commerce, people here. I've built it from the ground up. If I am sent to another city and told to rule it, I would tell the person sending me no, or otherwise work against them in some subtle way. This is my city. I don't want to be the prince of another city. I want to be the prince of this city. Everything in it, everyone in it belongs to me. Anything that is built will belong to me. I control all of it. Play to your derangements. Make sure that you use them as a weapon rather than as a crutch or a weakness. Insanity can help with great insight. There are so many kindred in this city who want to dominate it all. I see that as good. Because while the focus is on them and their aspirations, no one is looking at me. They just think, oh, that prince, he's a tyrant. But what prince isn't? I defy you to speak to Prince Loden or Marcus Vitale of Washington, D.C. and say, tell me, what do you think of the Camarilla? What do you think of the traditions? What would they say? Oh, they're great. But what are those princes really doing? Working with their weaknesses and turning them into weapons. The greatest princes do that. They do not get shackled by them. Do I have any other rules or advice? Well, final one. Never break in to the haven of the prince. Wait until you're admitted to see him. Never think you can take him down, because you can't. Because a good prince is part of his city. He is part of the lifeblood. He is the heart of his city. Stack up the dominoes. So if the prince falls, the entire city falls with him. That is my final trick, my greatest prank. If any kindred here were so foolish as to take me out, the circumstances surrounding it, the repercussions of that would be so dreadful to every kindred here. That kindred would not be thanked, would not be rewarded. He would be punished for taking out such a proponent of the Camarilla, such a bastion of stability in the United States. Now, allow me to introduce you to a little pet of mine called Spider. You may well have heard of her. You'll have to excuse that when she eats you, she'll start hacking and coughing because she does not like the ash down her esophagus, but it's an unwelcome yet necessary ill on the carpets. I think I might make you lose your mind beforehand to take some of the sting out of it, just to make it more fun to watch.